It is raining outside today, so what we're going to do is I'm going to plant up some of my seeds that I have, my 10-week seeds. It's probably a week or two past that time frame of the last frosts kind of thing, but it's okay. We're going to plant up the seeds. I'm going to use what soil I have now. I have more soil coming on the way, and let me show you what I'm planting today. So this is Snapdragon. And it's going to go into these terracotta pots. If you didn't watch my last video, please go back and watch it. And then I'll explain all of the pots and trays and stuff. Spearmint is going into these pots. Verbena is going to go into these. This is Walla Walla onions. This will be the first thing we plant up today. Up here I have milkweed. And I believe I have two different varieties which will get planted amongst these trays. Echinacea in this tray, along with some more Echinacea Cheyenne Spirit in this tray. Over here, I have two different types of foxglove. Down in this tray, I have a Dahlia Red Skin mix. So I'll plant those up. I have some left over from last year. That's the torn packet underneath the other packets. That'll go into these. Over here is going to be a bit of an experiment tray. I collected some hummingbird mint seeds from my other house, so I'm going to try to plant those up along with some crepe myrtle, which you really can't see that, seeds from the tree out front. So we'll see how that turns out. I have purple allium seeds, which I don't hold much hope out for, but if I can, I will. These are more foxgloves and Pam's Choice foxgloves. So we'll give those a whirl and see what happens there. Okay, so we're going to start planting up some of this stuff. Again, I don't have a lot of soil. I'm using the Espoma seed starter mix. I will start with the Walla Walla onions, see how much I have left over, and then move on from there. Whatever I don't finish today will be done in another video in another day. Okay, let's get to planting. Now, because I am working with limited space, I'm basically just taking each one of these cow pots, and that's what these are. These are cow pots. All right, there you go, cow pots. So again, this is a cow pot. It's just essentially sterilized and compressed cow manure, and it's eco-friendly. One of many reasons to keep cows around. And I'm just reaching down to the floor, filling each one of these with soil, and then popping them here. Now, I've never grown onions from seeds. If you've been a long-time follower, you'd know this. If you're just new to the channel, welcome. And yeah, so this is the way I'm going to start growing my onion seeds. This is a total experiment. I'm sure that many traditionalists may balk at this or say I'm doing something wrong. This is what I'm going to try. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Seeds are inexpensive, and there's, according to the packet, 300 seeds in the pack. So I'm not worried about not having enough seeds if this doesn't pan out for the next batch or the next attempt. And when you're growing things from seed, it gives you opportunity, I believe, to try new things, to try things that are different than the norm. Now, according to the instructions, they talk about just putting the seeds directly into the soil, about a 1/4 inch deep and 1 to 2 inches apart in rows, 12 to 18 inches apart. Germination should take place in 7 to 12 days. They take about 115 days to mature. So we are going to put said seeds into these. They're under the grow lights, they're under the trays, and we will see what happens. These are very small, but still big enough to handle. I'm do is I'm just gently going to push them in. This is a light and fluffy mix, and I'm going to put 2 seeds per pot. And that will give me a better chance at something, if not more, growing. Now I am putting these into dry soil, which right now is not the cool thing to do amongst all the kids. Preferred method would be to make a muddy mess and then plant your seeds into the muddy mess. Well, I don't like muddy messes, and I find it easier to wipe dry soil off my hands than mud. But planting them up this way, which again is probably unconventional, not what you probably see a lot of other expert gardeners doing. Actually, I highly doubt there's anybody doing it this way. So I'm going to plant them up this way into dry soil, but I will not be top watering them. The reason that a lot of gardeners plant into the muddy soil is that if you top water after you've planted them, due to all this perlite and soft soil, coir, etc. I'm going to put 3 in that one. I don't like the other way that one settled. I'll get back to the multiple seeds in a second. But you plant too many, if you water from the top, the water has a tendency to want to sit on top. This starting mix doesn't always settle, absorb the water right away. And the seeds can move around and not be where you want them to be. So for instance, I'm planting these out towards the edge of the pots. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to turn the seed tray around and hopefully remember where I left off. So yeah, so I am planting multiple seeds per pot, and that will hopefully give me a better, not all these seeds will germinate. And yes, I may have 2 seeds that may germinate in the pot at the same time. So if I plant 3 seeds per pot, it's not the end of the world. If I plant 2 seeds per pot, and not the end of the world. The only issue is that I can think of going down the road after I thin out. So let's say I thin out 1 onion plant per pot. I have 2 concerns. One is when I plant these into the ground, that they're spaced far enough apart. And 2, as the onion develops and grows, will the cow pot break down fast enough or quick enough to not restrict the onion growth? It's a bulb, and as it grows, I imagine it's going to want to expand, obviously. And will this pot restrict it, or will it burst free of the pot, or will the pot disintegrate beforehand and not be an issue? So that's something that we're going to have to, again, this is an experiment that I'm doing. I've never grown onions before, so I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to start the onion seeds indoors, see what happens. I'll also have the beds outdoors, so I can then have plenty of leftover seeds. Sorry, the rack is in the way and the camera's in a bad position. I'll also have enough leftover seeds that I can then start seeds outdoors as prescribed. And don't forget to label what you plant. This is a recycled label, so I just took the steel wool, wiped off the information, and I can write on it again. And I will just drop that in here. Boop. There we go. So that is the first of many trays that I'm going to plant up. Next up is the spearmint. I've never grown mint from seed before. There are apparently 200 seeds in here. The instructions are start indoors 8 to 10 weeks before last anticipated frost, which in my area, growing zone 8A, would be approximately April 1st. Lightly cover, keep moist. Seedlings emerge in 7 to 14 days. Transplant to individual containers when seedlings have at least 2 pairs of leaves. So I am going to grow these in individual containers to start off with. And then as they get larger, I will then transplant them into their permanent locations, which will be various pots around the garden. I will not be putting these into a raised bed. But today I'm going to be starting from seed, something I've never done before. And then we'll go from there. I also have to show you watering, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Also, these are the pots that you can probably see from that have the giant hole in the bottom. So I will be putting paper towel into the bottom of that hole just to prevent dirt from falling out. And I'm just putting a little spot of paper towel in the bottom of each one. If you've ever grown mint before from seed, or Walla Walla from seed, maybe starting it indoors, please leave a comment below. I'm always interested to hear how other people have done this. I have seen various videos on YouTube. In fact, Laura from Garden Answers, or Garden Answer, I apologize, her channel is Garden Answer. And yes, there is a distinction between answer and answers. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. She just started planting up her onion sets in various plastic trays that she's going to be using. So now, because these have paper towels, I'm going to bring the bag up. And that finishes off my bag of potting mix, or seed starter mix. So now I'm out of soil. That's fine. I also don't intend to keep all of these. So, sorry, I'm thinking as I'm talking. It's never a good thing. I also don't intend to keep all of these. If all of them germinate, I will give and grow to size. I will give some of these away to family and friends because, oh dear Lord. Why didn't somebody warn me that these were so small? They're tiny. No, seriously. I mean, I can't even show you on camera because they won't come. There are 200 seeds in this package. These are like the tiniest seeds I think I've ever seen in my life. Why didn't somebody warn me? Why? Okay. We are just going to do our best here and try to tip some into the pots very carefully, because they're like little, smaller than a grain of sand. How can there be 200 seeds in here? I mean, seriously, I've seen specks of dust that are bigger than this. And I'm just trying to carefully tap out a few into each pot. Note to self, never grow mint from seed again. I think I have seed in every single dish. So I will now label this, and I'm just going to put that there. Then, that's crazy small. Watering. Okay, and now since I have to water, then I'm going to show you how I water and why I water the way I do. I need to run in through the house, since I'm in the garage and don't have a reliable water source out here, to fill the pot. Although with the amount of rain outside, I could probably just stick my arm out the door. But we're not going to do that. I'm going to go get some water, and I will be right back. So I had the little pot, and I got some water. With a little pot, with a little bit of water, it's not going to cut it for the big picture. When I lived in my house in New York, I had a sink right near the seed starting station. Here I don't. I'm in a garage, no sink. So My wife came up with a genius idea because she's smart like that. Reuse I believe this is a 2.5 gallon jug that drinking water was in. Just cut a hole in the top, fill it up with water, and Bob's your uncle. And now I'm going to water the plants. Instead of watering from the top and disrupting the seeds because the soil is so soft and fluffy, simply going to put water into the tray itself. Now with the galvanized pots, remember they had the giant hole in the bottom. So even though I put a piece of paper towel there, theoretically they will absorb the water from the tray up into the soil, moistening all the soil. And what you can't see is that I have the water right now, let's say down here. So it's not even halfway, it's less than halfway. And I'm going to let these sit for about, well, probably about a half an hour. And then I can check back on them. And at that point, the water should have wicked all the way to the top. If it hasn't, then I'll just, and the water's gone out of the tray, then I'll just add more water. And again, the dry soil will wick up the moisture. The same thing, or similar, with the cow pots. I'm actually going to put the water in the tray. The cow pots with the soil will wick up that moisture. And eventually the tops should be moist. Or will be moist, I should say. I've done this before. There we go. So I'm watering between the pots, right into the tray. You can see the water going into the tray. The camera has focusing issues today. Seems more intent on focusing on the pot than the water, but you get the point. There's the water. And it will get soaked up into the cow pots and eventually the soil. And there's my label. Okay, so that's it for today. Short video. I wish I had more soil. I have a lot to plant up, as you can see. I will be getting more soil soon. I will continue to pot up the rest. I will show you that later, especially those galvanized, trays with the little cubes in them. I want to show you how that's done, or how I plant that up and water it up. That's it for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell your friends, families, neighbors, grumpy old guy down the street. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram. I post up there fairly regularly, although I haven't for a few days. I need to get a post up today. I'll probably take a picture of the seeds I've done. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button below. Hit that bell icon to be notified when I post up new videos. If you subscribe, it lets me know that you're watching. If you like or dislike this video, again, it lets me know that you're watching, that somebody's watching. And I think that's about it. I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.